massive guest, big deal. Kate Rao, CMO OpenAI, joins the show. Everyone, quick round of applause, if we don't mind, everyone in studio audience.
This is it. This is a big one.
This is it. All right, let's get into
first
it.
question.
How are you doing today, Kate?
I'm doing so great. I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
I love it. Well, it wouldn't be the week after the Super Bowl if we didn't talk about marketing and the ads of the Super Bowl. And obviously OpenAI was there. OpenAI both
Second time they're in there.
Second time, Kate, and you had the national ad that everyone saw, but then also a few different regional plays. I think first off, I just want to hear how'd it go? What was the strategy? I'll just lay it up for you and you slam dunk it, Kate.
Okay, let's do it. So it is, I feel like the Super Bowl is a very special time of year in the history of OpenAI advertising. We actually ran our first ever advertisement at all last year in the Super Bowl. So this Super Bowl marks 1 year of advertising for the company. So it's an interesting time to like look back and pull up and talk about, where we've been over the last year. Our point of view for this moment in time is that this is you can just build things moment in history. I think you guys are actually like a perfect example of the type of phenomenon that we are seeing and really want to lift up in what we're communicating, right? Like there's different understandings of AI and what's happening. But one thing that's just so clear is it's moving incredibly fast. And frankly, things that just used to take teams of people or like in the case of coding, like decades of technical training and experience, now really like anyone can do things that truly like weren't possible before. And that's true at the frontier of this technology. So with, Silicon Valley's most sophisticated developers and entrepreneurs, it's also true for people in their everyday lives who are using this tech in like super meaningful ways, whether that's, to build their small businesses like we showed at the Super Bowl or a variety of other ways. So that was really the strategy, is really to talk about you can just build things. This is a different moment in time than we've ever been in before. And that's what we wanted to really show.
Yeah. So, and then from there, you have that idea as a CMO, then like, how do you brief the teams to create what ended up being the Super Bowl spot? Like, I believe you guys worked in-house on this one. So how was that process developing the spot?
Speed is of the essence in these companies. They're just really different than the big guys or other brands that I've worked for. Like it's hard to overstate how quickly the space is moving. Mm-hmm. The product that we advertised in the Super Bowl, like now has over 1 million downloads. Didn't exist like 3 weeks before. So it is a really, I would say, like nimble process where we have kind of a bunch of core ideas, but then just really being able to iterate on them as the like exact sort of product that we're going to advertise comes into focus. And then, obviously chat's a little bit of a different story. It has so much widespread use. So there we can kind of do kind of a 2-part thing where we had a lot of ongoing kind of work for chat that we could build off of, but then Codex is obviously kind of just a newer space for us in advertising.
Yeah, it is interesting to hear, and to your point, like it's not when you release a lot of other brands, like especially like a consumer good or like a snack, you can just be like, Nerds Gummy Clusters, like go check them out, and they're like it's going to be there, but for there's a new model every single week. It's a rapidly developing product. Speaking of the Super Bowl, obviously, like a big part of it would be weird if we didn't address the fact that one of your main competitors' whole campaign is talking about chat. So I just want to leave it there. What was kind of the reaction from the team when all of this is bubbling up and all of this is coming out?
Yeah, well, so I mean, a couple things there. One, I feel like advertising is kind of a family. Like there are a lot of dynamics in this one. Andrew and Felix, I've both worked with a ton before. Andrew actually used to be on my team at Meta, and Felix, I've worked with in a variety of capacities. So I think just like on the creative alone, you got to give it to them. It was really funny. It had a lot of virality online, and they definitely hit on, something. So I think like creative execution, we got to like give them a slow clap. It was funny and broke through obviously before the game. Also though, I think it's so important that in my view, like when we build work, we build it on premises that are like true. The kind of core conceit of the ad where like ads come into the LLM stream, right? Like they influence answers is just not how advertising works on, will work on ChatGPT. We've been super clear about that. And so I think that was just kind of a bummer, honestly, in the sense that like, this isn't actually real in terms of how the thing will work. So I'd say it was kind of like it was a great creative execution. I think the core premise was a little, I don't know, of a bummer, I guess.
So
Yeah.
So what are the like what can you do about that? Like what's the strategy? Is there a response? Is there no response? Like what did you advise the team there?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple things. I think for us, it's always about setting a positive, forward-looking vision. This is the most, at least from our perspective, the most important technology that's ever been invented. And this is a really important moment in time. There's this saying that like I think Peter Drucker said it or something, I'm not 100% sure, but the best way to predict the future is to create it. And we really believe that. So we really think that like the more people are learning about these tools, the more they're going to be able to benefit from them. And that's super important to the vision that OpenAI has for the world, that everybody should have access to the best and most advanced AI tools like ChatGPT for free if they can't afford to pay, and that they really start to understand that this isn't just like set an egg timer for me, but this actually can like fundamentally change what's possible for people, from the silly to the significant. And so I think for us, it's just always about one, setting a positive forward vision, and then two, like, frankly, like showing up where it matters. So Codex, we shipped a model with this advertisement that has gotten like a ton of virality and is like among the terminally online crowd, actually really crushing. So it was a bit of a like, we're actually gonna show up as builders and as ourselves in this moment. We're kind of gonna like walk the walk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it is interesting, and like to move to like the next question, it kind of lends itself nicely because especially with ChatGPT at OpenAI, it's the category leader. People don't say I'm going to go AI search something; they say I'm going to go ChatGPT or go ChatGPT that question. And so you almost are. Do you feel like this phenomenon of being really like the company and the brand that has to answer for AI as an industry and be kind of like the evangelist for AI? Anytime there's new technology, I'm sure you experienced this with your time at Coinbase, similar to like crypto. Anytime there's something new and groundbreaking, there's always going to be like a negative scrutiny that comes along with that and building something that's super new. So for you all, like, what's the challenges and what's been, maybe a strategy for almost being that category leader and having to, prop up and and evangelize for AI?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think one thing about ChatGPT is just how viral the growth was and how many people have ChatGPT as part of their daily lives, getting value from it already, right? Like, honestly, like, this is the biggest word of mouth marketing phenomenon I think probably we've ever seen, like, in history, like the ChatGPT, which is publicly over 800 million users, like, has turned into kind of a verb, right? Like, especially with young people. It had no marketing. First of all, it launched 3 years ago, and it has had no marketing for the majority of its lifetime. So people understand the value of this product in their daily lives. They do. And so for us, it's really just lifting up what they're doing with it, and really showing that they themselves, that this is our point of view is this is a technology that expands human creativity and agency, not something that replaces. And so we've made some really conscious decisions, for example, in how we're executing our creative work, that really show that. Now, the category it's a challenging category, because it's such a disruptive category, right? Like it touches so much of potentially like the economy and a variety of other issues that are really challenging right now in society. I don't think any one company is going to be able to, communicate effectively about every place that AI can be disruptive, but we certainly take our responsibility and opportunity there for the category really, really seriously. And so we are thinking about how do we both market the product that people love and are using every day, and then how can we actually help make sure that the technology itself is, frankly, like benefiting society and people really understand and feel equipped for the future as it's hurtling towards us.
One question that I have is, you obviously know the brand so well and what's going on with the product. What's one thing that you wish you can tell people about ChatGPT, about OpenAI, that you see so clearly behind the scenes that you wish you can tell people that maybe they just don't get it from an advertising and marketing perspective?
Good question, Gino.
Thanks, Jack.
Really seeing, I think what young people are doing with this technology. I don't know that we've totally cracked that on how we're communicating, but it's truly like really inspiring and amazing. So, I'm a parent of young children. I think we all think about like, what's the future? And to me, seeing like the young entrepreneurs, what young people are actually doing with this tech and at this moment in time is like, it's like a really inspiring, awesome thing. And I think there's so much like doom out there in the world. I really wish and hope that we're able to actually lift up and kind of get people's to really understand and see not just the potential, but what's actually happening with the tech, particularly with what young people are doing with it.
Yeah, it's helped us.
It has helped us. Shout out chat. I think that it lends itself to a broader the question of like tech and Silicon Valley and AI startups. There's like for a few weeks, maybe like 2 months ago, I'm sure you saw it, Kate, where it was kind of like a meme of like the tech bros are finding out about advertising, and they would call it, and like people were hiring storytellers, like creative storytellers, and it's like, oh, like you're realizing that like the technology is one part of it, but like it's the product versus pitch sort of mentality of like, okay, we have a great product, but now we need to market it. We need to tell our story. What do you think's been like in terms of working at OpenAI, the buy-in from the organization to move into this world of storytelling and going in and bringing you on and like your remit the last year at OpenAI. Just, I would love to hear how the rest of the organization has responded to all that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a couple things in there. Like, one is, in general, I think roles are converging, right? Like, roles are changing. And so if you think about, like, in the Silicon Valley context, right? Like a product manager and an engineer are there, those skill sets, and even a designer, like those skill sets are starting to not be as like, the bright lines between them are starting to break down a little bit. What I think is like a lot of people that are building companies are starting to understand, hey, being able to actually differentiate ourselves, tell our story, like that's really important in a world where there are a lot fewer barriers in terms of like other people being able to do this thing or whatever. So I definitely think that's a trend. And again, like I'm bullish. Like I really think, frankly, like the role of creatives, of people that have really smart ideas on how to position companies will be more important in the future than in the past. So that's like one thing. And I really believe that to be true. In terms of like, my own role at OpenAI, it is a fascinating place to be because we truly do have what we call ourselves like a research and deployment company. Deployment is, the consumer product, right, that people know and love, whether that's, ChatGPT, Sora, or even on an enterprise like context. It's actually the tech in the world. Research is, truly a group of like Albert Einsteins, like no joke. These people are Turing Award winners. They're the smartest people in the world, theoretical mathematicians, like, the world's biggest machine learning experts. You guys have seen the news. These folks like command billion-dollar pay packages. Like it's wild. And this is truly like scientific inquiry at the highest level. Like where are we going in our understanding of like the universe and the world around us? So the work has to feel, and I would say like the most challenging part of the work is it has to feel authentic to that core. It can't be like too dumbed down. It has to have some resonance with like that core project, but it also needs to meet people where they are. In a way, the strategy we ran at the Super Bowl is an example of that. Trying to bridge, hey, here's where a lot of people are in their understanding of the tools, and then here's where the frontier is going. And that's just something that we're constantly working with and trying to balance as we bring this work to life.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Gino, if like you or I talked to one of these AI research Albert Einsteins, I don't even know what I would talk about.
No, yeah, it'd be just fine.
Honestly, I found that they're like, I don't know. Have you guys ever there were like teachers, in all our lives that kind of made us feel dumb and we're like, they're the expert and we're smarter than them. And then there are the people that are like way smarter than you, but like get you so curious and treat all your questions like they're really good ones, even if they're not. The second is really the experience that I've had with the researchers. They're super generous, super curious, really amazing people. So maybe I actually will change my answer on what do I wish people knew. I think I wish people knew that, like the people who are developing this technology at the very like face of the frontier are like really incredible human beings.
Yeah,
we got to get one on.
We'll have to bring one on the show. We can talk about. Do you see the recent McDonald's ad? What's your favorite tagline? Yeah, no, that's it's fascinating. It really is, and it's been really cool to see. Obviously, you continue to build the brand, Kate, and it's one of the most talked about brands. In recent memory. So it's fascinating. Gino, any other questions?
I was just going to applaud. Like,
is this a little bit of a glaze?
Yeah, I'm gonna glaze.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little glaze.
because
You
like
guys,
I feel like
after the last week, just like bring it on. Come on.
Totally.
I just commend so early on in the company and that you guys are investing in branding, and that's what storytelling is. It's branding, and and you guys are investing in that so early, and I think that's important. And like, of course, it will evolve, but that's the right decision to make, and you're leading the way. So you're doing a great job.
And then I'll follow up with a little
gonna do
glaze of
another
my
glaze?
own. I was gonna glaze
alley-oop?
myself. I am. Thank you. The thing that I think is we were talking about it earlier, but like, you know, for you especially, like being active and being like, you know, putting your messaging out there. I see like you're active on X and you're posting about it and you're willing to like speak up for the brand and put yourself out there is like really badass in my opinion, because I think there's a lot of executives just in general that feel safe to like, you know, sit behind the brand, let the messaging come out in the communications and, you know, stick to that and don't necessarily address it.
That's
But
what I would do.
Yeah,
That's what I would do.
100%.
I would do that. I'm like,
Yeah, no,
I'm not-
yeah,
Not a
I
chance,
cannot
not a
comment on
chance,
that. But
that's
so I think it's
true.
badass, Kate. So I think you deserve a glaze for being willing to put your face, your words out there when something at the company happens.
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm a huge believer in new media. I think anyone that is running a brand needs to understand the new media environment, and I think, you know, it's the way of the future, which right back at you. You know, you guys obviously, I think what you're doing is really important, and a lot of people should pay attention.
Kate, thank you so much for that. And that is how you do it, Gina. We do a couple glazes. She has no
Yeah,
choice. She has no
yeah,
choice. She
yeah.
had to
It's
say
recorded,
something.
too.
She had to say something.
yeah,
Can you
yeah.
imagine? She was like, "Thank you."
yeah, I know. She's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, that's great. All right.
Thank you, Kate.
Kate, appreciate everything. Amazing stuff. And recurring guest, maybe?
Anytime.
Let's go. God, I had that in there. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks,
right.
guys.